Hi there. I'm nednednerB the Schizophrenic. It's June 9th, 2021, and I have some personal news to report about my schizophrenia diagnosis. I've been experiencing over the past year and a half or so akathisia. Akathisia is restlessness. It's like feeling like, for me, I was experiencing the symptom of I'd be still and I'd feel like had to move my muscles in weird ways even though I was still. That was like a motion restlessness, an internal restlessness, and other kinds of restlessness are moving around a lot. And that kind of situation is akathisia. And I looked it up because I didn't know the word, and I found descriptions of restlessness and that term, akathisia. And I saw that it is a side effect of medications that I'm on that are prescribed to me, paliperidone and olanzapine. And I talked to my doctor about it and the possibility of putting me on another drug to moderate the akathisia symptoms. I talked about it with my doctor, and we decided to start lowering the dose of two of my meds, and so that's good. Pretty soon I'm going to pick up my doses, and it'll be a new dose, so hopefully those symptoms are reduced. I see a few people watching right now. Do you have any questions? Feel free to pop them into the chat. I'd love to answer any questions you have about schizophrenia. Tell you what it's like to experience it. I can tell you about symptoms I've experienced, or I can inform you about any questions you have. So feel free to add them to the chat. And hello there to anyone who's just popping in. Hi. Last month was Mental Health Awareness Week, and World Schizophrenia Day was May 25th, I think. And hi, Patty Sherwood. Akathisia, my son had that when on Zofran for nausea. He couldn't stop walking. Hi, anyway. Hi. Yeah, maybe that's a symptom I also experience. Sometimes I'm on my feet and I kind of dart back and forth on the floor. And I go kind of springing around. I feel it looks like I just have a bunch of bound up energy, but maybe it's part of the akathisia. Do you have any questions, Patty? The weather has been quite beautiful here, even when it's raining heavily. It's been great. Sometimes it's too warm, though. Let's see, where's my phone? I don't even know. Oh well. I was going to look in my email inbox to see if there were any questions, but I don't think there was. I've been working on my website a lot recently, and it might have not been working as expected, so I might have lost a few of the questions that people might have tried to enter, but then they wouldn't have been able to because the website wasn't working well. I see your message there, Patty, about knowing another mother whose son just got diagnosed with schizophrenia. Something I think about a lot is early intervention. When people are just diagnosed, that's one of the most opportune times to intervene because the brain is more flexible and not as set. Things are getting set, that if things are not intervened on early, the patterns just become like concretized in the brain. You think she should become his legal guardian? What do I think? It might be better that a family member be the legal guardian than the state, if that would be the alternative. So I'm not sure about the legality and where you are, but what it sounds like by legal guardian sounds like if it was otherwise, if someone was deemed incapable or involuntary in their treatment, then the state or some ward might become the legal guardian, and that could be not as good for a person than a family member doing it. If ultimately, I would say it does depend on what he wants and what he needs, that it's got to work with that, but hopefully they get along, because if they don't get along, then that's going to create conflict too. To be able to participate in intervention, yeah, that makes sense. Well, Patty, if that's true, I think that is a good idea then. If he agrees to it and everything, then that would be probably the best legal situation to be at. I don't know examples of drugs that are new which are good, but I would think that the newer the drug, if it follows and passes all the safety checks and all that that the research demands, that newer is probably better than older. That the older the drug is, the more really bad side effects are attached to it. So I heard the doctors sometimes talk about new generation drugs, and literally what they were putting people on last century was more disabling than the conditions themselves in some cases. Right, Haldol, yeah. Some of those drugs have like a sound to the ears and the mind when we hear the word. It's like we think of really bad associations of bad experiences of people in psych wards and everything, not getting better for years. And like part of why outcomes and prognosis is better these days than it was in the past might be because of the better medication. That's a big chunk. It has to be a big chunk of it. Reason for that. Do you have any other questions, Patty? Or if there are any others watching, feel free to pop a question into the chat. Also, it's not just what's good for drugs in general. each individual has a very unique brain that works in very different and slightly different ways than any other person with another brain. And so a different drug or a different combination of drugs is going to affect every individual a bit differently. And finding the right dosage and the right mixture is going to be what sees the prognosis improve. That you might try one and it'll have some effect, but the person will still have a few symptoms that they're not getting rid of, and another drug that might be known to treat those symptoms a bit better in particular might add to the mix. And then maybe in the hospital the doses are higher, and once you get out of the hospital you have to go down the dose, but that has to go on slowly. And working with the doctors over time is the only way to get through it. And I know from experience that the doctors want to move slowly, and they're probably going to move quickly when a person is in the psych ward. They want to move slowly, but they have to move quickly during a psychiatric crisis. And yeah, so working with the doctor over time is going to be the way to go about it. It's about 12 minutes in. I think the number maxed out at 3 people watching as far as I saw. The live streams were busier in the winter. That's interesting. I suppose that makes sense if people are outside more often in the summer, so. I am too, I guess. You're welcome, Patty. Well, Patty, audience of 1, even though there's a couple more maybe in the background, feel free to ask another question while I have you here. And I'll probably close off the live stream at around 15 minutes. So thanks for popping in and asking a couple questions, Patty. Any suggestions for negative symptoms? Some negative symptoms that are common for me might be social withdrawal and lack of affect. And I think what helps those symptoms is people being regular and consistent and being non-judgmental, and that a lot of the negative symptoms can be addressed, I think, by someone who's close by, who's friendly or family, and who just works to normalize and regulate the emotion and the social behavior. That sticking to a pattern and a habit and being consistent and doing the things for your health that for the person and for the people that support the person, that both people, everyone has to promote each other's health. And in that regard, the negative symptoms are mitigated, I think. And often the negative symptoms come rebounding after the positive symptoms start to fade away. So not being pushy, not pushing a family member or friend to be normal, to stop being schizophrenic because they're not seeing things or hearing voices anymore, so they should just be normal again and get back to work. No, got to give them more time, more space. And that's what I think about negative symptoms. Well, okay, I'm going to pop off this live Q&A, this stream. So thanks for listening, Patty, and thanks for anyone who's tuning in later. Thanks. If you want to leave a question that you weren't able to in the chat right now, if you're watching later, you can go to my website. There's a link in the description below, and you can anonymously or personally leave a comment or question to me. So thanks. Okay. Thanks for coming, everyone. Bye.